Despite my fascination to cling onto shiny projects, I am writing this and tinkering with new projects because I am hopeful they can help someone. Welcome to the Innovation Forge. In today's episode, I read Act 1 introduction of my book, The Innovation Forge. Let's see how innovation meets artistry as we forge something extraordinary together.
You are listening to the Innovation Forge, the #1 podcast on adaptive enrollment management, exploring the data, marketing, and strategy that fuels higher education. Here's your host, David Dysart.
Hello, Guilders, and welcome to the very first From the Foundry episode of the Innovation Forge. I am your host, David Dysart, and I'm thrilled that you are joining me on this journey into the innovative world of higher education and adaptive enrollment management. Have you ever had a project that's been sitting on your to-do list forever? You know, that next summer project that somehow never arrives? Well, today we're diving into one that did, and how it turned into me publishing a book on it. In this episode, we explore the fascinating world of engagement scoring, a long-awaited initiative that went from a backburner idea to a full-fledged predictive modeling system. We'll talk about the challenges, the data, and the unexpected detours, including a bit of football, and why sometimes you just have to build the thing yourself. Stay tuned to see how it takes shape. Act 1, Engagement Scoring. Acknowledgements. Neither I nor ChatGPT could come up with the proper words to express my gratitude to everyone with ties to this book. I will try and keep it brief, though. My wonderful wife and amazing son. Constant inspirations every day in all things, and patient ones at that, at least my wife, taking recommendations on how to teach a 2-year-old patience. My friends and family, that have given me such a beautiful life and helped craft how I think of and view the world. Every colleague, client, boss, and giants in the field I have studied, worked in, or have spilled into my life somehow. Like a snowball rolling down a long and winding hill, I've picked up so many things from everyone, and I wouldn't be the slushy ball of wet snow otherwise. The readers? Despite my fascination to cling onto shiny projects, I am writing this and tinkering with new projects because I am hopeful they can help someone. Whether that's a staff member whose life is easier or better for having learned something, or a student whose experience is better as a result of the project. So you have my utmost gratitude for spending your time reading or listening to these words. I hope they help you on your journey. Thank you for a full heart and a full book, foolish at least, as someone who has written hundreds of thousands of words of fiction, as someone who has written hundreds of thousands of words of fiction as a hobby, I never thought my first book would be a guide for higher education. Though this was not my first attempt at writing a higher education book. I had spun into a start-stop cycle a couple of times, trying to write a book specifically on using Slate by Technolutions. The scope of the book, rapid evolution of Slate, and the nearly non-Euclidean sprawl of the system to touch so many functions on campus always stymied my efforts. A series of books on projects that lend themselves well to Slate but are applicable to other systems made a lot more sense. At least that seems to be the case as I type this out. This book was not even meant to be a book. I had initially written 6 accompanying articles to be supporting documentation for a 6-part series of workshops on engagement scoring and predictive modeling. But, as a wise mouth once said, the words start coming and they don't stop coming. The journey begins. Oh, scoring. Engagement scoring as a project spent so much time on the back burner. I had been wanting to do it since the quaint halcyon days of what were a Slate template library before the configurable joins. Can I use BC? Is that already taken? Maybe BCJ? Scoring, though, seemed complicated and was always one of those next summer projects. Surely I'm not the only one with next summer projects, am I? They feel like college athletes waiting for the NFL draft. I discuss the team needs with leadership, and we end up drafting that long snapper that will support the office in a mission-critical way. Look, no offense, Mr. Kelsey. You're an amazing player and a wonderful locker room presence, but tight ends are more exciting on the ESPN highlight reels, and apparently for pop stars. Author's note. As I write this, it is a very topical reference. Inevitably, whenever you read or listen, it won't be. You have my sincerest apologies, and realistically, this will not be my only football tangent. I will make an honest effort to limit those, though. Well, scoring sat undrafted for years. I even tried delegating the lift to other staff when configurable joins first came in. Does delegation count as signing a free agent? Can I just stop this metaphor at this point? Would that be dropping the ball? Let me know. Then came the COVID-19 pandemic. I imagine a much more memorable reference to everyone. And the many projects requiring to be converted for our operations and response. Definitely not the time to start a project like this from scratch. Enter, or exit I suppose, Slate Predict. This was a non-functional page in Slate about leveraging predictive analytics in an instance of Slate. While it was never, as far as I could tell, working, I was always excited for it. Then, it just disappeared in 2021. I took a step back. Why would I continue to wait for Slate to build a predictive modeling tool? I know how to build predictive models, and as soon as I built the model, I could, at least in the amorphous shroud that is the first formulations of a project, actually build the model directly into Slate to keep the records updated in at least near real time. But if this did not have the biggest next summer project energy, I didn't know what would. The sheer scale of data cleanup and extraction, feature engineering, statistical model building, the technical build in Slate, including getting very cozy with configurable joins at that time, and what could be a never-ending scaffolding of the uses of such a project in the policy, practices, and strategy of my institution at the time. I wish I didn't already use my non-Euclidean reference in this chapter. Let's just say this is the kind of project that sleeps in Relayar, and I feared for my sanity if I woke it. But who needs something as pedestrian as sanity? So I buckled in and took the dive at the end of summer 2021. Join me for this tale of 3 acts. This is the Blueprint Breakdowns, your quick reference guide after a dense discussion or deep dive chapter. Here, we extract the essentials, highlight key points, and help you carry clear takeaways back to your daily work. No guesswork needed. So what did we learn from this deep dive into engagement scoring? First, big ideas don't happen overnight. This project sat on the back burner for years. Always a next summer project, the elusive category of tasks we all have but never quite start. The reality, there's never a perfect time. Second, technology evolves fast. From the days of the Slate template library to the introduction of configurable joins, the tools available kept changing, making it easier to make the project a reality, or possibly a tool on the horizon that could become the project. But why wait for someone else to build the tool when you already have the ability to create it yourself? Finally, this journey was more than just scoring models. It was about data, patience, and persistence, wrangling messy datasets, engineering the right features, and building something that could integrate seamlessly into real-world policy and strategy. So, if you've got a next summer project just gathering dust, take a page from this story. Start small, embrace the learning curve, and just build the thing. Who knows? It might just turn into something much bigger than you imagined. I never would have thought this would have led me to writing a book and creating a podcast, so I can't wait to see where your next summer project takes you. For those watching the video or willing to see this cute little guy, I need a name for my joins juggling octopus for our segment, The Consultant Cadre. Send me an email at theinnovationforgepodcast@gmail.com or find me on the socials like LinkedIn and Instagram to comment your suggestion. I'm also really happy with the Easter eggs in this design. I can't wait to see what you guys come up with. I'll send the ebook of my book, The Innovation Forge, to all winning name submitters. If you enjoyed today's episode, please grow the guild by rating and reviewing the Innovation Forge podcast or book, or sharing it with a colleague who needs to hear about these creative crossovers in education. The best review or comment every month will get an ebook copy of the Innovation Forge. Particularly great ones will also be featured on future episodes. Thanks so much for joining me on the workshop today. Remember to strike true and let's forge something extraordinary together.